Hey guys, back in the Camaro again today, filming because I am on the run today. Quite a lot of stuff going on. I'm currently at my church about to go in and do some technical work. We're setting up some cameras to do a live stream of our services. Regardless, today is the 15th of February 2023, and this is episode number 18 of Daily Thoughts with David Coleman. I did things a little bit different yesterday. I released the video from yesterday this morning at 10 a.m. because I was up all late last night trying to figure out some technical stuff. Regardless, I'm going to continue to try to schedule those the morning before, so it's at a more appropriate time at 10 a.m. so you guys can watch those easier. Now that we have the clerical stuff out of the way, we need to talk about ChatGPT and AI. There was an AI computer, well, obviously AI is operated by computers, but there was an AI program that operated an F16. Actually, it was a test aircraft called the X62A, which is kind of like a training version of the F16, but an AI program operated this plane for 17 hours, which is extraordinary. So we're going to talk a little bit about AI today. We need to talk a little bit about Epstein's client list, which should be being released sometime here. They haven't released a date yet, but I hope it's in this century. Otherwise, it's kind of useless, which is kind of a big deal. Obviously, I think we're going to see a lot of names that most of us know on there, but there's 167 names that are supposed to be released in this sealed document. Once again, we don't know what's going to happen. And then last of all, Congress is issuing subpoenas. How about that's the best verbiage for that? Issuing subpoenas to Apple, Amazon, Meta, Google, and Microsoft. Those are the companies that are in this subpoena, basically asking them about collusion or interference in the 2020 election having to do with, we've seen the Twitter files that came out here recently, obviously. That's kind of a big deal. And then, that's Mike Grimes. Hey, Mike. One of my members of my church, or one of the elders of my church is driving by. He's probably thinking, what are you doing in this Camaro sitting at church? Anyway, we are going to talk about that. There's quite a few companies. Looks like 5 different companies that are going to be subpoenaed here. And that's going to be an interesting conversation with Congress, because obviously the Twitter files that came out here recently are a pretty big deal. And we don't want tech companies to get away with this kind of infringement, essentially, on the First Amendment. That's something that we've had a big issue with here in the 2020 election. Now that the Twitter files are out, everyone's kind of seeing that kind of interference. And we want to make sure that the rest of the companies, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Facebook, whatever, Instagram, all those people are not doing the same thing. So I know this has been a long intro. Let's get right into it. ChatGPT and AI in general, the fact that an AI or some kind of intelligent computer system is operating a jet aircraft of some kind, the X62A, which is what we just talked about, that kind of scares me a little bit, because as you've probably seen in plenty of videos and movies, the Terminator series, all different kinds of things, when machines get sentience, which I'm sure this is not a sentient AI for sure, but when they get sentience or some kind of ability to think on their own and to make decisions on their own based on criteria, things get a little fuzzy. And the distinction between human pilot and machine pilot is not far off. And this may bring good things for the aviation industry. There may be a situation where they only need one pilot in the cockpit for commercial flights. And then the pilots can focus on flying more than having to deal with all these systems and a lot of the other things. However, that being said, what if AI makes the wrong decision? Are we going to put these in actual military aircraft like the F-16, where they're going to be making decisions on, hey, are we going to bomb this? Are we going to bomb this location? Are we going to bomb this particular event that's going on? Who is making the decisions of what of where to go, what to be engaging with? You would assume that there would be some kind of protocol where the AI machine would have to get approval from some kind of human saying that, yes, we're actually going to go ahead and do this. Whatever action that is, engaging a target or whatever, crossing into sovereign territory of another nation or whatever it is, but we don't know. It's a huge step forward, obviously, in the operation of vehicles in that space and AI, but we'll have to see. So I'm not going to make a total judgment yet, but there are obviously dangers to that we need to be very, very wary about. ChatGPT, I think, is a huge step forward when it comes to the concept of being able to produce content of all different kinds, written, even translating that into audio, translating that into not ChatGPT, but other AI systems that are creating artwork and videos and deep fakes and all this other kind of stuff. This is complicated stuff. And we want to use it for the best possible reasons that we can, obviously. That's something that we really need to watch out for. But it also may infringe on intellectual property rights. And that's one thing that we really need to watch out for also. That's a lot of the things that are going on in the art space right now, the digital art space, is a lot of people are concerned about intellectual property and people taking intellectual property and putting AI on top of it in order to create new art, and who gets the credit for that, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So AI is a very, very complicated subject, obviously. And I would like to hear your guys' thoughts about that right now. So I'm going to remind you at this, whatever halfway point of this video, please go subscribe, ring the notification bell. As you can, comment on whatever topic you'd like to talk about or hear me talk about. But for me, the AI is very scary. In my line of work, I do a lot of machine work, metal work. We work on trucks and things like that. There may be a time when AI is controlling tractor trailers or vehicles, any kind of vehicle, cabs or service vehicles of any kind that are going out and transporting goods all over the country. And that could be a danger, that could be a help, that could be all kinds of things. So just speaking in my own world, AI is a positive and a negative depending on how it is used. That can probably be said for most applications of AI. Let's move on to Epstein, everyone's favorite topic. Jeffrey Epstein he's obviously passed away now. I don't believe he killed himself. I'll just put that out there to begin with. Jeffrey Epstein is, Satan on earth. I don't know what to tell you. He's not the Antichrist, obviously. But an awful, terrible, evil dude. And I think we need to know who he was meeting with. And we know some of the people who he was meeting with. People on both sides of the political aisle. People that are billionaires, that are influencers in all different kinds of spaces, musicians, just to name a couple that you would definitely know right off the bat. Bill Clinton, I believe Donald Trump had a couple dinners with him. Bill Gates met with him and had dinner with him, I believe 27 to 30 different times. Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't know if that was actually his official wife, if they actually got married, but I know that they were at least a couple or whatever. Go down the list. I believe that multiple actors that you would know would be on there. I can't even think of the entire list. I looked it up the other day, and I really don't want to even go into all of it. It's pretty much every A-list celebrity out there. And they were invited to this island, to go to this island. And I think if you had any kind of, I don't know the proper words to say about this. I think if you were invited at least, or if you participated in any kind of Epstein activities, you probably need to have some kind of sniffing about your personal life and your personal tastes, because Jeffrey Epstein was a really bad dude. And if he wanted to be around you, or you wanted to be around Jeffrey Epstein and spent time around him, I think you should probably at least have a little bit of sniffing around in your personal life. I would like to see some of the 167 different names that are on that client list. The names that I'm referring to are on the flight list that flew to his island, that we know for sure. Going to the island is bad enough. Client list is bad. Flying to his island, I think, is worse. If you fly to a private island in the middle of nowhere, where we know it's basically sleep with young girl island, pedophile island, I think you're a bad dude. And I think that you probably, even if you didn't know what was going on, it was probably weird, and you probably have something to tell people about it. So, if you are on that list, none of you that are on this list will see this because I'm a small-time YouTuber. But if you are on that list, you probably want to get ahead of this and start preparing your preparing why you were on this list, on this client list, and why you were on Epstein Island, because it's pretty ridiculous. And I hope we get to see the entire list, because I think it's going to really bring out a lot of truth, maybe not truth, but at least a lot of facts that that we need to see, because Epstein was a bad dude, and I think everyone wants closure on this case to see who exactly he was fraternizing with. Anyway, that's Epstein. Leave your comments about Epstein below. I'm sure everyone thinks he's a bad guy. I hope none of you think he's a good guy. Last and certainly not least, subpoenas coming from the Congress, the new Republican Congress, about the 5 other different tech companies, huge multi-billion-dollar tech companies: Amazon, Apple, Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, Google, which is owned by Alphabet, and Microsoft, who are being subpoenaed by, I believe it's the Judiciary Committee, I think, maybe Oversight. They are going to be looking into these companies, and the problem is Twitter was bought by Elon Musk, and therefore Elon Musk did digging of his own and told his employees to go do the digging for him in order to find all of these companies, or all of these emails and all of these pieces of information that were coming out about Twitter, which I don't think anyone was surprised about. I think we all knew it was happening to begin with. I just think that being out in the open now, all of this information about the Twitter files makes it pretty self-evident that Twitter was not a good guy in the 2020 election, and definitely played a role in silencing the Hunter Biden laptop story, along with a lot of other influential stories about the Biden crime family. Now that we know that about Twitter, which is not the biggest social media platform, I think we really need to dig into Facebook and Instagram, which is owned by Meta, who I believe are the biggest social media platforms, and see what kind of background controls and algorithms and silencing options and collusion that they had with the FBI. Because as we know with the Twitter files, the FBI was continuously having meetings with the Twitter executives in order to silence stories that they didn't like. So that is the long and short of it. I'll let you guys know what the hell happens with that whole subpoena thing. It's going to take a little while to get all the information on that, because it's just going to take a little while. There's quite a lot to get through there. And my guy that I'm meeting at the church just pulled in, so this is perfect timing. I have to finish my video. I'm going to go set up some cameras real quick. Anyway, please go follow my Instagram, which is David Coleman, YT. YouTube is David Coleman. There's Paul. And Rumble's David Coleman 27, and the Twitter is Colma63ETH. So I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I will upload this again at 10 a.m. and we'll get this all figured out. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.